What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Steve's Random Stuff. Hey, today I'm back out in the garage getting my tackle ready for the upcoming Redwood Empire Bass Club tournament. This month's tournament for October will be at Lake Sonoma. If you saw the last video, I was up there last weekend with my partner, um, Tyson, and we had a decent day. We had a good topwater bite in the morning, and then fish deep, kind of typical October pattern. A lot of bait in the water. Fish are chasing bait, but they're also down deep. So have to just find the active fish. It's kind of hit and miss this time of year, and you just gotta kind of find those schools and stick on them for a while. So gonna go over some of the baits I got rigged up. I made a few changes since Saturday, and gonna try a couple different things, but kind of stick to the basics for this weekend. But we'll just kind of start off with some of the baits. But before I get into that, as always, as I'm tying things up, I like to kind of have a little cold beverage. And this week's beverage of choice is the Velvet Glow from Russian River Brewing Company. This is a dry pale ale, nice and light, tasty beverage. So kind of killed that off as I was rigging up my stuff. Had to put some new leaders on and whatnot. So anyways, I'll go over some of the baits, kind of starting off in the morning. We'll do some topwater action, and I got two topwaters tied on. First one is the Rico Popper. I got a Feather Treble on that one. It's got the orange face on it. You can see this bait's kind of beat up. Been using it a lot over the years. Just needs a new paint job. Second one is a Super Spook. I was throwing a smaller bait, and Tyson was throwing a regular size spook in the same bone color. The one I was throwing was a Janko Fishing. I don't think they make it anymore, but it's one I won in a raffle, and just a smaller, slimmer profile with a kind of smaller BB type rattle. But went back to look at some historical information and videos from last year, and I was throwing the larger spooks and the Vixen, and so I thought I'd go with that at first. I could always change if I need to. Got some good sharp Gamakatsu treble hooks on that as well, so those were changed from the original hooks. So a couple topwater baits to start the day. Also kind of chasing the bait balls is a spoon, and see that there. So a little spoon action. I like to chuck these out and just let them kind of flutter down and sink. So I'm making long casts with them, so I could throw them towards those bait balls. And this is like 3/4 ounce, so I could chuck it pretty far. I let it flutter down towards the bottom, and then I yo-yo it back to the boat, and that seems to work. Or if I'm over some bait balls that are down deep, I can just drop it straight down and yo-yo it that way. So kind of a little spoon in action for that. Another bait, just a Senko, just a Wacky Rig Senko. This is the golden shiner color. I really like this color when it's partly cloudy. Seems to do the best in those conditions when you have a little bit of sun and a little bit of clouds, and it kind of gives a lot of flash and a lot of shine. I got a little tungsten weight on the nose of that too, so it'll sink down the bottom. I did catch a fish on that last week as well. Kind of a unique color. You don't see that used too much, but like I said, I've tried it in different situations, but it seems to work best on the partly cloudy days. For whatever reason, that's just kind of how it works. Kind of moving on. Let's see what else I got here. The Mr. B jig. Of course, I can't go to Lake Sonoma without the Mr. B purple sculpin jig. I did trim the skirt down just a little bit. Did those legs out. It's a Yamamoto, just a twin tail grub in the cinnamon purple color. Matches really well with the purple sculpin. Got new supply of these recently, so put that on there. And like I said, trim the skirt back just a little bit longer than the hook to get those legs out there kicking. Kind of sticking to some of the bottom bouncers. If I get into some of the open water, on the main lake, there's a lot of just clear areas like along the dam and towards the marina and stuff. So this is kind of one of these what if baits. It's just a hula grub half ounce, in the cinnamon blue color. Really great for clear water. Again, if you saw the last week's video, water clarity in some areas was 12 to 15 feet. So really good water clarity, and this color is really good during those conditions. Green pumpkin is a good color, and then watermelon red, another color as well. So just kind of a good selection of the hula grubs. If I was fishing Berryessa, that's pretty much all I'd be throwing. One other one, this one I hadn't really thought of until I kind of went back and looked at last year's video, and that is the Tokyo rig. And it's a 3/8 ounce weight on there, if I can get this thing up. This is the Tokyo rig, and I got this paired up with the Yamamoto Mermaid and the green pumpkin with the purple and green flake. So I hadn't really thrown too much like Texas rigs or the Tokyo rig, but again, this is something that was working last year, so thought I'd just pull it out and rig that one up for fishing those fish down on the bottom, probably in the 15 to 20 foot range. So the good old Tokyo rig. And then crankbait. Switched crankbaits for this week and went with the DT10. Really love this color. It's kind of the shad color, and the DT10 runs right at 10 to 11 foot deep with 12-pound cigar fluorocarbon line. And then good old shaky head. Again, can't leave home without that. This is the X-Zone worm. It's kind of like a trick worm, and a green pumpkin. Just good old reliable bait. Woo tungsten shaky head, 1/4 ounce on that as well. And again, this is my G Loomis rod. You can see that. It's the let's see the number on that. 783S SJR. So it's IMX Pro, medium heavy action, which I really like for the shaky heads. A couple more here. Something I haven't tried recently, and that's the good old minnow type bait. This is the Yamamoto D-Shad, paired up with a 3/16 ounce head on that. And again, throwing it out at those schools and letting it sink down, and then just kind of work it back to the boat. Hopefully that will get some action in the morning when those fish are schooling out up shallow. Caught a lot of smallies last month, especially with the topwater action. And then lastly, I got 2 drop shot rods, 2 different baits. First one here, this is my old G Loomis GL2 rod. It's a 7 foot medium light action. I've had this thing forever. Ever since like drop shot first became a thing for bass fishing, I got this rod. Really great for light conditions. Like I said, it's a medium light rod. I got it paired up with 8-pound cigar fluorocarbon. I got a 1/0 straight shank worm hook and a 4-inch worm in kind of this blue sexy shad color. Not sure what that's called, but just a 4-inch robo worm on that. Last week we got a lot of fish on drop shotting. Color really didn't seem to matter. I caught some on the sexy shad worm, caught some on this blue color, caught some on the morning dawn. I think a couple other colors as well. I just kind of kept changing, kept catching fish. So that's the first drop shot rig. Again, 8-pound test on that one. Second one here is my Dobbin 703 spinning rod, 1/4 ounce weight on there. Bump it up to 8-pound line, or 10-pound line, excuse me, on this one. So I can fish this around the trees and stuff, a little bit heavier line. And then I went with a 2/0 offset worm hook with the Morning Dawn hologram worm with the chartreuse tail. This color is actually kind of hard to find. It's called Morning Dawn hologram. It's got the kind of holographic flake in it. A little different than your standard Morning Dawn worms. This might be one of my last couple worms that I have in this color. I've been trying to find some locally and haven't been able to find them yet, but I'll keep looking. If not, I'll just buy some online. But got that, and like I said, bunch of colors. Anything that's a light in color, like the Morning Dawn, Sexy Shad, the blue, you name it. I think anything will work. I'm trying to stay away from the darker colors just because we really didn't get much action on those colors. So that's kind of like 2 drop shots. Like I said, 10-pound line, I can fish around the trees and around the structure, whereas the other one with 8-pound line, I'll use more for open water, main lake stuff, where there's not a lot of structure to get hung up on. That rod has been pretty dynamite over the years. Caught a lot of fish up to like 5-pound spotted bass at Berryessa and 5-pounders up at Clear Lake with 8-pound line. Just got to make sure your drag's not too tight on that. And I've even caught fish, 6-pound line with that rod up to 5 pounds. So pretty confident in this. It's just 8-pound line. It gets kind of weary when you're around those trees and such. So that's kind of the lineup. I also have the Mr. B spinnerbait tied on in the locker, and I also have a jerk bait as well. But I think the baits that I've kind of just gone over will be my kind of go-to baits. I'm hoping for the topwater action in the morning. Maybe some of the other the minnow baits and stuff around those schoolies, and then as the sun comes up and it warms up in the day, then we'll probably just start hitting the bottom. So that's kind of the game plan. We kind of have an idea where we're going to start, so kind of similar to what we did last week. So it should be fun. Another good tournament for Redwood Empire Bass Club. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the water.